Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tulo Hoyani. It was another interesting day in the Senzo MEYIWA trial yesterday afternoon as Advocate Ngumalo proceeded with the cross-examination of MEYIWA. And at some stage, Advocate Ngumalo wanted to get some clarification as to what had happened to the gun that allegedly shot Senzo MEYIWA. Now, you'll recall that there's evidence before the court tendered by Zungu Jr., Constable Zungu, to the effect that that gun was thrown into a dam. It was disposed of. So that is what Advocate Ngumalo sought clarification about with MEYIWA as he cross-examined him, or put questions of clarification to him. I would rather call them questions of clarification, not cross-examination. It was at that stage that MEYIWA then attempted to answer and to give his own version of the fate of that gun and the evidence that Constable Zungu had tendered to the court regarding the disposal or the eventual throwing away of that firearm which had been used allegedly to shoot Senzo MEYIWA. A very interesting development came up here because, the judge then intervened to say that version put forward by Constable Zungu had never been disputed has not been disputed by any of the counsels in the trial, and then proceeded to stop MEYIWA giving his own side of the story. And it was a very unfortunate development. Just take a listen to this and we'll come back to it.
Zungu said that firearm was thrown into the water, into the river, which shot Zungu. And that was not disputed by any of the counsels.
Manje ithi inkantolo uZungu wathi isibhamu lesi esasisetshenzisiwe ekuthizeni sidubule usinako basilahla emanzini noma emfuleni futhi ithi inkantolo abameli abakaze bakuphike.
And Zungu says Sinako was shot by Gwabeni.
Bathi futhi uZungu
that was also never contested or disputed by all counsels here.
Bathi futhi uZungu washo khona njalo ukuthi ke usinako wadutshulwa uGwabeni bese inkantolo futhi yasho futhi ukuthi bonkana abameli abakaze bakuphike lokho namhlanje bakunquphise lokho. Bathi yakukhumbula yini ufakazi lobo ngesikhathi uZungu bekakhuluma
ubufakazi baZungu ngiyakukhumbula.
Okay. No, that's okay.
Yes, I do remember the evidence of Mr. Zungu. Besithi inkantolo kulungile.
Bengade ngifisa inkantolo ukuthi ngiyichazele ukuthi ubufakazi baZungu bukanjani.
I would like to explain to the court as to how.
What I remember Zungu said, and I am saying he said that. The counsels will dispute that if they want to. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying Zungu said that firearm slashed emanzini, emfuleni, because never disputed. And then Zungu further said, you know what, I don't want to talk about that, the death of Snongo. He actually said that also.
Isibhamu esabula sinaka sazi sashonisa apha mhlawumbe salahlwa khona emfuleni uyasazi yena kodwa sinakho udubeke 2017.
We don't know what happened to the firearm.
Zungu, Mr. Balui, Mr. Numal.
It is correct, but I've got reservation. I'll
Fine.
matters for argument, yes.
Am I
I've taken
correctly
note.
quoting you?
No, I've taken note of what the court is saying, yes.
Right.
That is how it went. And that was a very unfortunate development because the judge simply did not afford Moses Bia to give his own version of what he knew to have happened to that particular firearm. Now, in spite of the fact that, you see, the problem that I have with the judge's intervention and that untimely and perhaps with all due respect to him, uncalled for intervention, is that he intervenes and then denies Moses Bia that opportunity to say anything regarding that gun. That should not have happened. Granted that none of the defense counsels had challenged that version put forward by Constable Zungu, that the firearm had ended up being disposed of or being thrown into a dam. That does not preclude Moses Bia from putting his own version of events. It is just not right. It is a classic case of a presiding officer jumping into the arena and by so doing denying the other party an opportunity to put his side of the story. Because in any trial, defense counsels are enjoined or obligated to put the accused version to the other side as a possible defense, so that if a defense counsel does not dispute something that has been said by a prosecution witness, that can be a bit problematic, for the accused person, because it means that particular fact is undisputed. But even under those circumstances, the judge does not have to deny the accused person like Judge Ratha did. Judge Ratha was simply saying, I will not argue with you. And budget Moses Bia into silence. I will not argue with you because all the defense counsels here have not denied that version. Now, the fact that all the defense counsels have not denied that version must not preclude Moses Bia from giving his own version, whatever it is worth. And it is then for the judge at the end of the case, to make whatever he makes of it, given that, none of the defense counsels had challenged that evidence when it was tendered by Constable Zungu. But it was very sad to see the judge jump into the arena in this way. And this is why some of us have got, misgivings about the sort of justice that we are seeing dispensed here. Judge Ratha misdirected himself, jumped into the arena, and almost, he became a prosecutor. That's the sort of stance which you'd expect out of a prosecutor to say, in cross-examination, to say to Moses Bia, but none of the defense counsels, including your own defense counsels, have disputed that version of events as put forward by Constable Zungu. So, unfortunately, the judge jumped into the arena. This is not how things are supposed to be done in a trial. Another misdirection on the part of, Judge Ratha, and casting, some very negative aspersions about the way in which he's handling this trial, because he virtually, by so doing, turned into a prosecutor and not the impartial judge that we expect him to be. Having said that, let me thank you for watching this video. Let me thank you for all the views and subscriptions and likes that I'm seeing, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.